Azadi is a grassroots level NGO founded in 1969 in Anantapur. And we work in two states, that is Andhra and Telangana, in about close to 4,000 villages with an integrated approach working in education, with women, in health. We have a number of rural hospitals, work with the differently abled, work in the ecology sector with farmers and environment, and of course with youth, with sports and culture. And we have a habitat program where housing as well is a large part. Around 80,000 houses have been built so far by RDT. When COVID first started, suddenly everything stopped, including the hospitals, which normally wouldn't stop for anything. But then, of course, within a week, we got out of that shell shock and got out and started understanding the situation. When the pandemic came, government infrastructure was not prepared in rural areas, and all the private hospitals just shut down. We were the two main institutions that cared for COVID patients. A lot of work at that time was done on the field in every single village. A lot of work on awareness and safety and information. So it was very difficult in the initial period. Our hospitals have treated over 9,000 patients in both these two phases that we've had. A lot of our women's groups came forward. A lot of tailors in the villages came forward to make masks here. And I think over more than 50 lakh masks were made during that time. We were giving more than 10,000 meals a day for a couple of months for migrant labor plus local labor. And there were no daily wages. And whatever given were just not enough. And I think the government also requested NGOs to play a bigger role during this time. And I think NGOs did play, as they always have. I've seen NGOs for so many years now in India. One of our doctors, he put it really well. He said, first wave was all about fear. Second wave was hell. And I guess in the first wave, we felt more the impact of the lockdown, really, COVID cases as such. Whereas in the second wave, we didn't have so much of a lockdown like previously, but the impact of COVID and the virus itself, that you could see much more, the consequences. One thing that we saw here as well, the public came forward a lot during pandemic time with support, be it financially, being managing and finding cylinders, oxygen by hook or crook somewhere, contributing financially. That was one big plus which we saw here in Anantapur. We had a Mission Oxygen, for example, a campaign, and it was tremendous. More than 5 crores was raised during that time. And we had people from remote villages coming forward, wanting to support and be a part. That was the solidarity that we saw in the second wave. The interventions done by us have many different kinds of work, many different phases. One, of course, the clear-cut one, which was most visible, which everybody could see, was our hospital, which was the official designated COVID hospital. And there, of course, preparing the team, training the team. And we were lucky in one sense. We've had over the last 20 years a lot of relationship with hospitals and doctors in Spain. And they, of course, had the pandemic before us. And we are, in general, doctors from here and in Spain are very much linked in their day-to-day work. They support each other. Doctors from here for conferences, our doctors go to Spain. And there's a lot of working relationship together. And that was a very big initial support for us because we had no clue. And the experience of Spain, and which was one of the first ones in Europe, Italy and Spain, to get hit really bad. So that experience helped our medical teams very much prepare, set up triage, care for patients, and then the coordination between the district administration and NGOs was also very good in our district. There were coordination committees, regular meetings, talking to each other and taking responsibilities, specific responsibilities. First challenge, of course, you had the lockdown, so you couldn't really move. You couldn't get anywhere so easily. So your logistics were all very difficult, and availability of material was near to impossible. Everybody needed masks. Everybody needed sanitizer. No, there were no beds. There was everything was in short supply. So managing that was extremely difficult. And the teams that had fear in themselves, within, be it not just the hospitals, but they were, of course, in the front line. And then you had workers in the field that would get positive and had a few deaths as well. And in the hospital, I mean, we all know now what it is to work in this heat with those suits put on you and with constant fear you're out there, almost like a war-like situation, I guess. And India being the country with so many hundreds of millions of people that lived on daily wages, the unorganized sector, so to say, struggled tremendously. So when the vaccination program started, even in the frontline workers, there were some that weren't sure because it's so new and there was so much in the media everywhere, social media, pros and cons, and so much doubt was put into people's mind. But of course, the second wave changed a lot about that. People were more receptive towards vaccination. It was very difficult to actually convince because there were cases, and this is one thing that really didn't help the drive for vaccination. There were cases where people died for whatever reason, we don't know. But then it happened pretty soon after the vaccination. So naturally, you're going to put yourself in doubt. It requires lots of meetings, lots of talking, lots of discussion, lots of answering questions, hundreds of thousands of people. But it requires, constant reassurance, positive support from government, NGOs. But there was nothing about community, religion, politics. People came together, and we saw that in the support that we received in the work that we did. Our doctors, our technicians, the cleaner, every single person was appreciated, respected, and supported. And people came forward in various ways, voluntarily working, financial support, material support, the reassurance that, yes, we still are a very strong society. We do care for each other. That spirit is there. And I think it's an opportunity for everyone in the world to build on this and to not lose that momentum.